This conference will now be recorded.
Oh my God, Mario.
Being 6 p.m. December 18th, 2024, we'll bring the Tilton Budget Committee meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we're at the point where we have to start voting on things.
Yay.
And Tim would like us to work with the town stuff first. We could do the
So he can go home?
yeah.
It was a late night last night. It's going to be late tomorrow.
But so I guess we typically go department by department, and ask questions and vote on it.
So in this budget, I can tell you there just been a few modifications. So some money was taken out of town hall maintenance and repairs to reflect the encumbrance of the mini split that's going to be put up on the stage. But also there's an accessible voting machine that the town is going to have to buy next year, that the state's requiring us to buy, but we don't know how much money it's going to be. So I added some money into that line. And there's really nothing we can do about it. We're going to be forced to buy it, whatever it is. They used to provide that equipment in the past, but they're not doing it anymore. So those were a few changes, but the bottom line of the budget didn't change. The $6,217,379 and $7,191,765.
Okay, so the first department is the administration, and that looks like it's gone. The request has gone down a little bit. That's what you're talking about, right, Tim?
Right.
And now at 787,079. Is this fine with everyone? You want to go? Does anyone have any issues with doing it this way, or?
No, that's fine.
Okay. I mean, we could just review them all and then vote entirely, unless does anyone have any questions or comments about any of these departments? I mean, we've been over it with Tim a bunch of times.
Yeah, Tim was very thorough.
Yes, so we
A little too
know
thorough.
what's happening.
The only question I have is the police support staff gone. Simply because I don't know if they're gonna hire anybody. I don't want to raise money and I heard the chief said he hopes to fill the position.
So I can update you a little bit. So he has 2 open positions right now, and there's 1 full-time position open in Public Works, and then a part-time 10-hour per week recycling position in Public Works. So there is both the Director of Public Works and the Chief of Police are coming in tomorrow night to discuss with the Selectmen the hiring for 2 positions, one of which would be patrol for the police, and the other is for the truck driver laborer for the DPW. So theoretically, potentially 2 of the full-time positions could be hired before the end of the month. Wouldn't start necessarily before the end of the month, but that hiring is entirely possible. That would still leave the detective position open at the police department, and then also the part-time recycling attendant.
And your concern is that,
Bless you.
We're gonna appropriate money that we're not gonna spend.
but what happens to that money that we don't spend? It just
They
goes
spend
back.
it at the end of the year.
Well,
buy
it
a
goes back,
police
it goes
car.
back into the general
No,
fund.
they spend it, usually.
I don't
Kinda
think so.
spend it
No, they do.
Not if it's earmarked for,
You can spend it on anything you want once it's in the budget.
At
yeah,
the
but
end of
how
the
many,
year.
did they do that
They-
last year, Tim?
They can't exceed the bottom line of the budget, but they do have the ability to do either budget transfers or there were some unexpected things that occurred this year that they took advantage of. We had two of the midline administrative vehicles at end of life more unexpectedly than we thought. And those were replaced with two used vehicles. And then there was also some paving work that had to be redone over on Morrison Avenue. So there were a number of things that occurred and that's, if you have the ability, then that's when you use that sort of thing. However, I can tell you that whereas at this time last year, we were far from full employment. This year, we are. I fully expect these two positions are going to be filled. So we will be within, one position of being fully budgeted. So.
Did they fully expend their budget last year, even though they were short people?
No. In fact, no. We were able to return $400,000.
Yeah, that's what I was aware of.
Some years we've been as close as $30,000 at the end of the year. We've been, it just depends on the employment.
So I'm just saying, well,
My-
Joe is saying that they'll, and you're saying that they're just going to
My
spend
point is
400,000 on
they
something
They
else.
can. They have
They
the ability
can,
to.
right.
Yeah.
But
the
they have
ability
to have certain authorization for that, right?
Well, no, they have to answer to the taxpayers.
Right.
If
They
they,
decide to spend it on whatever they feel is necessary.
right.
Right.
Something breaks down, they can spend. I'm not saying that they do it wrong, that
Right.
they're
No,
frivolous.
no, I understand.
But
Yeah.
they can have like a little wish list at the end of the year, and they can spend it the way they
Maybe
want.
it's gonna go towards the tasers or the body
Right,
cameras.
it's something
or,
that you might need.
I mean, it's spent on
Sure.
real stuff
Right.
that ultimately we would have to raise taxes for. So.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So last year it was half of the cost of a cruiser. It was the new paint stripe machine that was about $7,000. There was, a number of smaller things like that. There were some server upgrades that needed to be done. So these are things that cropped up, and if there's the concept, they're looking at about $78,000 of encumbrances this year into next, and could be more than that. I have to talk to the board about it, but one of which is, say, the McFarland Johnson engineering that's being done right now on Academy Street. So rather than take that money out of the capital reserve fund, which would lessen our ability to do any of the construction, if we are paying for that out of 24 money, we don't have to raise and appropriate that engineering money in 25 or spend down the capital reserve fund. So, and I'm looking at the second top coat for Morrison and Grant Streets right now to see if there's any way that can be worked in. But the selectmen have been very selective, shall we say, in how they review those. They don't just willy-nilly approve anything. There has to be a good justification, and it's always weighed against, is this something that we have to do, and will it save us from having to raise and appropriate new taxes for this in the new year?
I was just making the point that they do have some flexibility in
Sure.
how they spend it.
Right.
do.
But it is like we usually see what they do. I mean, it's not like it's not transparent, fortunately, because Tim is so.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, but they do have some
Right.
leeway of how they.
But if you'd like to make a motion,
Hey,
All right.
I just,
are you
How you
texting
doing?
us? Are you texting us that you're here?
we're in the review period right now. We're
Okay.
reviewing the Tilton operating budget, because Tim's
Like,
here and.
wait, we
and
spent
it's
this,
just
but
staff.
now we
It's not the
spent
chief of police,
less.
it's just gonna say,
Now's a good time to
$300,000.
ask questions.
If you have anything.
Mm-hmm.
no,
Tim,
Yes.
on the original dated October 30th, 2024, unaudited expenses, so you've audited them now or no?
No, they're still unaudited.
Because I have like 43,12730, which is highway.
Where are you looking?
Used to be 2770 we spent, and now we only spent 1745.
You have to tell me where you're looking.
Page 8,
What line is it?
43,12730. Buildings,
Highway Street,
grounds,
Buildings,
maintenance.
grounds, and
Move
maintenance.
something?
Okay, and can you tell me what you were saying that,
It said we have, I have. I got December 18th, but I was comparing from October, because I didn't have that one. 2770 said we spent, and now I see we spent 1745.
right, so there were some expenditures that, as we go through the budget, we're looking for any items that were misclassified.
Oh,
And there were
okay.
some things that were charged to building and grounds maintenance that turned out to be parks building and grounds maintenance. So whenever we go through those lines and, go through the reconciliations, we're always looking for something that may have been misclassified, in error. So you'll see that from time to time. There were definitely some transfers done like that, larger transfers in the sanitation area,
Okay.
because it's pretty laborious to pull out the residential recycling from the other recycling data, or from the other data that we get from haulers from our transfer station. So that usually gets grouped, and then those adjustments are made, subsequent to it, but they have to be done by the end of the year.
So this last one's dated 12/18. Are we
That's today.
still unaudited, but it's pretty close to what's been spent somewhere?
Well, they're unaudited because we won't conduct the audit until the new year. We're on a calendar year, so we're still in the 2024 year.
But this is close to a full year now, December 18th.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, however, there are adjustments that'll be made. So there's some personnel items that were done this year in our collective bargaining agreement. The employees are able to bank a certain number of hours, so those will be expensed and shown as a liability on our balance sheet until those are used. They're pretty much considered like an emergency set of hours, and it will not affect our budget, but it will affect the amount going to fund balance. And there's some other adjustments that we do at the end of the year like that. So, and then also, you don't see the effect of any encumbrances out of this as well. So and we have 2 more payrolls to go.
We have what? 2 more quarters?
2 more payrolls,
Oh, 2 more payrolls, yeah.
the 24th and 31st.
So what I'm looking at is different line items that I've marked that entire year out of the budget, we've used 10, 15, 20, 25%. And I mean, I think those could be lowered if we're not going to be using them. Why do we keep putting them there?
Well, which ones? There may be some. You may be right, and there may be some good reasons
Well, I made
why we
notes
do it
for,
like
yeah,
that.
I made notes for what you said for comments from before. So this one example is page 2. I just started on page 2, 4130, 375, equipment purchase. You didn't have anything that we're looking to
Yep. So
purchase, so
yep, that is typically what gets purchased out of that line. Believe it or not, are chairs.
right, I wrote chairs.
We go
so
through chairs.
with it only using $150. I mean, is there a
So-
reason why we can't lower that?
We could. However, if someone needs a chair for an accommodation, That's where it would come out of, any of that. So, and those are more expensive. Most of the chairs we've purchased have been about in this $150 range. But yeah, you can certainly lower that.
It's not a monthly expense, it's a
No.
as-need expense.
As
So
needed, that's correct.
That's why
Yep.
it's still there.
And keep in mind, obviously any budget, it's simply a plan. This is done, 14 months ago, when
Right.
this was put together. So, for this year.
Well, just in my mind, I'm trying to tighten this up because there's a lot of complaints in town, and we know it's not us, but it's the Belknap County. But I mean, there's several, 20%, 11%. I'd say we should lower, but I guess we can go through and the board can decide.
Well, as a for instance, 20%, 11%, what lines are you referring to there?
Well, you want me to start listing them off?
Well,
That's
if
why I
you
said we
wanna
could go-
address them, if you don't want to address them, then no.
That's why I said we can go one at a time.
Terrific.
So the percentage year to date is the third column over.
Yes.
So if it's close to 100%, which it should be at this time, right?
Even 80 is
But
good.
if
I
it's only
mean,
like the one she just referenced,
15%.
Well, keep in mind, you're going to see a lot that may be over 100% as well.
yep, no, I'm looking at
so-
those, yeah.
So that's why, sometimes you're going to have some that are over, some that are under.
Yep.
So if you're going to do that, I would hope we make sure that we have enough money in those lines that we're over as well.
Right, because it does offset, you're right, yes.
I mean, as an accountant, I would want to know why we're over, like office supplies. Why? Did somebody need extra pens? I mean, so it's hard for me to say with the overage and then the underage because I don't know why they're over.
Which is why I'm here. So ask your questions.
Okay,
I'm
why
ready.
why are these overages over?
Well,
We'll start with administration.
give me
Well, let's
what line?
take it
Start at the
on
top.
page 2.
Yeah.
On administrative postage and printing, they're both up 30 or 40%. And why would those be up this year?
Right. So we have, first of all, we're postage increased, and particularly for certifieds, and we have to send a lot of certifieds. In addition, the printing was for the town report. After we printed the town report for the meeting, it was requested that we print a second batch, a smaller batch. But when you do a smaller batch after you've done your main batch, it costs you more per unit to do that. And that's what caused the overage in that line. So, it's really a matter of making sure that we stick to what the plan was. But the board wanted more copies printed. And sometimes, and we try to guess as best as we can as how many we're going to need. Biggest problem we have is somebody comes in, picks up one, they get to town meeting, they pick up another one, or they come in and pick up a couple, and then they don't have it, and they pick up another one at town meeting. And, we do the best we can with that. But that's what, that accounts for those two. The equipment maintenance and repair, I think, was just higher costs for the inspections. Advertising, we had to utilize. We're not advertising in the paper as much as we used to, but we're utilizing Indeed and other services when we're looking for employees, and that's charged under that advertising line. And Indeed is pretty expensive. We try to minimize that cost wherever possible. You're going to see the miscellaneous expenses increase. We haven't gotten all the cost process, the wreaths that are currently up on the windows, and other things that were related to the Christmas parade, the candy that was expended for, that's done out of town hall. So you're going to see those costs come in. Let's see what else is on this first page.
Now, there's the reappraisal of property. It says new 5-year agreement, high bidder priced in budget?
Yeah, and I'll change that note, but it is Avatar that the board selected. The other bidder turned out to be utilities only, and it was over $100,000 just for assessing the utilities. It did not include all the parcels, so there really was no decision.
Are there no competitive
Oh, we
appraisers
sent it out
there?
to 8 companies, but there are fewer assessors in the state, companies that do this, and the ones that are, they are full up. We got several responses back saying that they can't take on any more clients, and they declined to bid. We had several of those. So aside from, hiring someone to do it, and we've had that before, and with mixed results back around the early 2000s,
Right.
which was not an ideal situation. And and as much consternation as there is with the current assessor, they're really, how they do things are very prescribed by the standards in their industry, as well as what the state requires.
Mhm.
We have basically one tax system in the state, and it's property tax, and the assessments are done based on market value, and that's, in a nutshell, that's what we got to live with. So,
Right.
And that's why people are upset, because maybe you can sell your place for a certain amount of money, but you don't want to. You're not going to, because where would you go, sort of? So,
What can you buy? Yeah, right.
Can't afford to move.
I
You already
know,
live
right,
here.
right.
right,
And one there.
right.
So overall, the town administration budget is up 0.3%,
Question.
which
Yes.
isn't too
Do we
bad.
expect
No,
to
not at all.
spend Indeed a lot more?
Well, it depends on what position's open.
So right now, we're not expecting it unless somebody leaves.
That's correct. I can tell you when we've thought we've been pretty stable, invariably there are changes for whatever reason.
And then what caused this page 2, 413265, this money set aside for eligible PTO, and it just is, did
41.
somebody, 413265 right in the beginning?
The compensated absences. Yeah. So this is a benefit that's made available to employees. I usually budget this on the low side, because you don't know what someone's going to do, but the employees that have been here over a certain length of time are eligible to buy out a certain amount of their paid time off, and so that's what the compensated absences is. In the police department, it also covers the comp time of the officers. So instead of being paid overtime, they get 1.5 hours banked for their comp time that they can use at a later date, or if at the end of the year they haven't used it, it has to be bought out.
And that comes out of administration, or?
No, in the
okay.
PD,
I'm
it's in
only
a
on-
different line, but
Okay.
that's the comp absences in the PD line. I was just explaining both.
So how's the expectations look for the coming year for that? Because that went up 151%.
It really depends. What's changed this year is that that employees have the ability to bank hours. So whereas someone would have probably bought out their hours before rather than lose them at the end of the year, now they're able to bank up to 120 hours that carry over from year to year. Considered kind of like an emergency. They have to exhaust all their other hours before they can access that. But it gives employees more flexibility. So if someone was in danger of losing hours and they qualified to buy it out, they would, of course it's dependent upon their personal preference, but if they don't buy it out, they could bank it and save it for, a rainy day, so to speak.
How long can they save it, Tim?
There's no expiration on the banking. So, but they can only bank, they can bank up to 120 hours, and that's it.
Total.
Total, yeah.
2 more on the administration. Page 4, 414335. We got training and dues. We only used 776.
4335.
Previous years, we didn't use it all either. Is there an expectation that we're going to still use about the same, 1,000, or to that?
So there is, because we did not, first of all, we were very short-staffed in, are you looking at the town clerk tax collector?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
shoot, I went to the wrong, I'm sorry. Go back up. Skip that one then.
Okay.
Page 3. I want to stay on the same administration.
Same line?
No,
The,
4194 440.
Oh, town hall maintenance and repairs?
So it looks like you had said we're going to be paying 7,000 for the HVAC this year, right? Or that payout was out of the previous
Right.
budget.
Right, so the 7,000 is going to come out of 24 money.
Okay.
But in looking at the other projects that the town administrator and I reviewed, we are going to have to do some electrical work, and there's going to be a door that's going to need to be replaced as well. So, and that's, I mean, you could take that down further if you like. It's really hard to predict.
Well,
This
they're only
particular
asking
line.
8950, so that's close to 7,000 to me.
Well, no, so from last year, it's down 3550. So,
Yeah.
So and this past year, if you recall, the air conditioning system for the building gave out, and the majority of that expense in 24 was to replace the air conditioning.
And then just above that, 4153 910, the legal general expense. We always put 25,000, but we don't.
I would
Be careful.
highly recommend
I
not
saw some
touching
emails.
this line. There
Okay.
is a lot of activity. In fact, I almost feel like this line should be increased. But this should not, more than anything this one should not be decreased, particularly in the current environment.
That's all I have on administration.
Okay.
If anybody has anything on that one.
I have one on town clerk, but I can wait. Yeah, we're not there yet.
I mean, if we didn't have health insurance increase and a reappraisal of property increase, we'd be $30,000 less.
Well, and also
Just those two items.
at the top of page 4, Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid, we really don't have any control over that.
Yeah.
And we don't have much control over our insurances, workers' comp, property liability, and unemployment.
So we're kind of lucky that it's only a 0.3% increase, because a bunch of the retirement and disabilities went down, even though health insurance went up. That's almost a wash. But,
Right.
And then we save some money in the town administrator.
That's correct.
And he's going to take less every year, right?
Well, his salary won't
Right.
go down.
I'm not going to answer that. No,
He's doing a fine job.
He's doing a great job, and his rate was determined in part with where he was coming from, but he's doing a great job, and I think you will see that increase with time.
Okay, so I'm okay with the total administration if everybody else is.
So I'll move we accept the total administration of $787,079.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, one nay. And did you have any other questions there, Stan? Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1. Okay. Okay, now we're on to the town clerk tax collector.
Go ahead, Deb.
So I just had a question on the town clerk training and dues.
Yeah.
If they only spend 776 out of 2,000, why do we leave it at 2,000?
Right. So they weren't able to take advantage of the conferences, the big conferences this year, and they have to send the deputy to one of them to finish her certification next year. So basically, they weren't able to, with the elections. I think it was because of the 4 elections, they weren't able to do what they had intended to do originally.
Okay, and the next one is town clerk election preparation.
Right. So this is where the accessible equipment is, and I added.
Oh, that one you don't know what it's going to be?
We don't know what
Okay.
it's going to be. I think I added $2,500 to the last. The selectmen did opt into a new scanner system that the state will be putting forth. It's $7,000. There's a $3,500 grant, and we did encumber the $3,500 for that. This is something separate. This is for individuals that can't, use the regular equipment, and for the accessibility. And in the past, as I said, the state of New Hampshire has provided it, and now they're requiring towns to provide it. It's mandatory, but we don't know what it's going to cost yet. They have seminars coming up this spring to let us know how much it's going to be.
I just feel like this is still kind of high with you only have one election in 25, even with the $2,500. I think 5,800 is still a little high. I mean, you only spent 3,400 and it was a busy election year.
Well, so this is also, this is the machine maintenance and coding is out of here. I can look that up for you, but I think that's somewhere around the $1,400 range. Where we have a lot of money spent is through all the ballot clerks and the other people that help out at the elections. Sometimes that gets, we get a lot of people helping. It just
I
depends.
know, but we only spent 3,500 with 2 major elections this year. We had the primary and the big one. I don't know. It just seems high.
Okay.
What do you propose to reduce it to? So the machine was 2,500.
Well,
That's
we don't know.
maybe it's
We don't know.
25.
Right.
Don't know.
He's just
It is
holding
an
the
unknown.
2,500.
It is an
right,
unknown,
yeah.
I heard 4,000 would be our part, but that's kind of the 7,000 split in half story. Don't know for sure till you get a bill, and we will have a bill.
No, I get that. I just think, I think 58 is still high. But
Government reimbursements, town clerk, tax collector.
Yep. So those are offset through revenue. Those are vitals and dogs, and you'll see those covered in revenues. And the only thing I can think of is that I would have to check to see where we are. I will check that because that does look low to me.
we only used half of it, so just over half.
So has the stamp gone up like 10%? Is that why postage is up?
Well, so for the town clerk, tax collector, what's different there is when they lien and they deed, they have to send out certified mailers, and the certified mailers are expensive. We've looked at other systems where you have a different means of getting the certified back, but in the end, even though you may have a different per unit cost, you have the productivity, with a thing. So there really isn't, we haven't found anything that's going to save us any money.
Mm-hmm.
There's no great way to do it. They do use a special mailer they can print on to make it a little quicker, but it just depends on the number of liens and notices that they have to send out.
Well, I know certified has gone up because I use it, and it has gone up about 10%
Yeah.
in the last year or so.
Yeah, I think, that's about right. Yeah.
So what about the finance supplies? Why are we going up when we didn't even spend what we budgeted for?
Don't worry, that will be spent by the end of the month.
By the end of this month?
By the end of this month, yeah. We had to buy another micro cartridge and another regular cartridge for our printers. So that'll be right up there.
Well, I guess we should finish up the town clerk, tax
Sure.
collector.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I have a
sorry.
question.
I'm
Where-
go ahead.
We're looking at here adding a raise of 4.9% to the salary of the town clerk tax collector, which is an elected position. So that would need to go to town meeting.
Right.
So we want to put it in there without the town agreeing to it. Why would we put that in there at all? And if the town agrees to it at town meeting, then it could be adjusted at that point.
Well,
Correct.
it certainly could. So this gets discussed each year, how to handle it. This is how the selectmen,
6%.
back when this was first determined that it needed to be separate. Some towns do it as a separate warrant article. But the selectmen opted to make sure that it's clearly stated in the budget and, to bring visibility to it, that because it is different. All other merit increases are from a July 1st point forward. The town clerk tax collector is a January 1 through December 31st. So, but that's how the selectmen have wanted to show it for years now in the budget.
Do the selectmen select that 4.9%?
No. So the 4.9%, the reason
No,
why
for the budget. I mean, for this line item.
No. So the town clerk tax collector provides the request, and she requested to have the same percent increase as the rest of the town employees, and the town employees was determined to be mirrored to what the police employees were getting. So the 4.9% that you see is that. So that's the 4% wage increase plus all the other costs associated with that wage increase. So the taxes and retirement on top of that is how you get to the 4.9%.
What did town employees get last year?
3% on average.
Isn't that the norm, 3%?
On
So
average.
why is
used
it
to
almost
be.
5
Well,
now?
Really?
so last year the police department received 4.5%, and the town employees received 3%. So this year it was thought that it would be made all the same.
But they also have a contract, right? They have a union, which
They do. Yep.
which negotiates for
Yep.
their.
But that was for non-union PD employees as well.
And my second question is right under that is the salary of the deputy town clerk tax collector. Why would that position be requested at a 6% when the police department is at 4% and that person's boss is at 4%?
So she received a wage adjustment during the year, higher than the 3%, because again the merits are based on performance. So some people, not everyone got 3%. Some people got less than 3%. Some people got more than 3%. And in her case, she received a 6% increase.
So she got a middle of the year raise that no one else was given?
It was done, I believe, at the time of merit, but she was awarded a higher percent increase. Correct.
Outside of the budget?
No, within the budget. I mean, you see it right here.
It's over budget.
So in
already.
other words, from last year, her budget last year was the 52,000, and then this year for 25 with her increase for the full year it would be 55,120. So it's 31,20 over the last year's budget, or 6%.
I still don't understand the answer to that question.
Okay, sorry.
I mean,
Sorry.
it's you word it this way, word it that way. This person in the middle of the year just got themselves a raise, and I just want to know
Right.
why.
Because of her performance. So everybody is evaluated mid-year with the exception of an elected official. So the evaluations go from the department head to the Board of Selectmen. The Board of Selectmen discuss them with the department head. Recommendations are made. The Board of Selectmen debate the recommendations, and then they're determined, what each individual would get, and that's what this individual received.
So Tim, the 6-month evaluation, is it always a financial? Or is it
Generally
just
speaking,
a
yes.
performance?
Yeah, yep.
So by the end of this year, she'll be received 55,120.
No, 25.
End of 25.
No,
End of
25, in 25.
No,
And
but I'm
sh-
just
If that's
curious
6%
what
approved.
she'll, this isn't the end of the year and she's already got 467. So I'm just curious what her total pay will be this year.
Um,
She's got one more paycheck, right? Or
Two.
two more.
2.
You guys get paid weekly?
We do. Yep. So I would, I could try to
Divide
calculate that
divide the
for you.
52,467 by 51.
Right.
Or 50, by 50.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that'll tell you what she gets.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically $1,049. So add 2,200 to that.
1,049,
Yeah, times 2.
so 2,100.
So Stan, did I answer your question then?
100.
The performance?
No.
So she'll be at
Okay.
54,
Um,
54 this year at the end of the year.
When that employee was
Hey,
hired, it was a basic entry-level position with a more or less entry-level wage for that kind of a position. She
Okay.
far exceeded
54,
expectations,
okay.
and the Board of Selectmen opted to pay her what she was actually worth.
And now the town hall health insurance is all broken down separate to the employees' salaries. Is the town clerk and tax collector part of that health insurance?
That's correct. So everything, so there are 3 groups of health insurance retirement. One is in the administrative budget, which includes some of the other budgets like town clerk, tax collector, finance, land use. And then the PD has its own grouping and Department of Public Works has its own grouping. And the reason for that is as you get into smaller departments where it's more easily identified how much someone's paying for health insurance, it borders on, HIPAA issues of determining what kind of health insurance someone is, an individual might have. So that's why they're grouped in the administrative budget for the smaller departments.
That's all I had.
Did you want to know why that was that way, or?
No, I was just clarifying, just, like the answers of, requested 4% and I went to 4.9 and then that became the taxes and retirement.
Yeah, all right.
But that's not separate than the town hall. So it's like part of this is molded into the town hall section, but salaries are
Right.
outside of town hall.
Yeah.
Everything except for the elected position of the town clerk. Yeah, that's correct.
Or deputy town clerk.
No, deputy is in the administrative.
They're
We
not-
hired that person.
Taxes and retirements, she works for the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, it's
Even
all
though she
elected.
reports to the town clerk tax collector, she's not elected. She's
So the
appointed.
salary of that person should be under administration?
No, no, it belongs under town clerk tax collector. It's just that because she's not elected, hers is her retirement, health insurance, and taxes are grouped together in the administrative budget, similar to mine and finance and land use and other smaller departments.
Okay.
The only one that's really the one-off is the elected official of the town clerk tax collector line.
Right, any other?
And I might point out that figure there, the 4.9%, that's cheaper than we've been paying for years.
The overall.
Yeah,
Yes, right,
That
right.
line's been higher in years past.
Sure, right.
Oh, I know.
It's
I know
all,
it has.
Well, you had somebody in there that had more experience.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be the argument, right?
Yeah.
Right?
A
Otherwise,
lot
we
more.
were.
She
She was
chose
there
her
forever.
own numbers.
Yeah, but everybody,
And
it was always
sometimes
discussed. It was always discussed at
I
town
had
meeting.
trouble with that whole thing. The
Yeah.
selectmen used to just approve the wage and that was that. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, she's an elected official.
Yeah, you guys fixed that.
So Tim, on previous budget, before the town clerk, tax collector gets voted in with her increase, did we put the increase on the budget before the town meeting? Because that doesn't happen till town meeting.
Because, I'm sorry, what did you say at the end?
The last budget, last
Oh.
year's budget, when we did that before town meeting and we signed off, was it at what she asked for or what
Right.
previous year was?
It was, no, it was
Because I
what-
can't find my paper.
It was what you approved, which was what she asked for. Basically, each year, the practice has been, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the practice has been that the Budget Committee and Board of Selectmen both pass it through. And so that it can be discussed and modified at town meeting. Anything in this budget can be changed at town meeting.
Well,
no
we're
matter
just a
what.
recommendation
Right,
committee.
we're
recommending this.
It's passing through the recommended amount, but it's ultimately it's up to the voters to decide.
One way to really force it is to put 0 in there.
Yeah, and then they
right.
just vote on it at town. Yeah.
And then they would vote on it right there on the floor.
Yeah.
But we've done that in the past, and it
remember that.
wasn't pretty that day, as I recall, nor days
That's right.
following.
But it's
And-
kind of nice that it's in here because it shows that everyone has looked at it and everybody's reviewed it and
That's
Right.
discussed
true.
it. And,
Right.
I'm not saying she's not worth an
yeah.
increase in what she's requesting.
And there were years in the past when the request was 7% from the prior town clerk tax collector and 6% and
For
she
no discernible reason, I might add.
and she fought
At
for it
town
at
meeting.
town meeting, and she had to defend it.
Well, I'll just move that we recommend 155,535 for the town clerk tax collector position.
Before you do that,
Oh,
I
okay.
just wanted to see if anybody here was in agreement to reduce the dues and the government reimbursement since there's such a difference.
Which line?
41, 43, 35, and 395.
$35
Government
and
Training and
95.
dues, 335,
Okay.
and then 395 government reimbursements.
That's the training line. If you cut that, it reduces the amount of possible training we might be able to do. Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
But that's where the padding of the budget comes in that only 38% was spent.
Yeah.
Only 53 was spent. Line under that, election preparation, only 37%, so that we get an election next year of, as it's been discussed, several less elections than last year,
Mhm.
and we're going up, not down.
Well, new machinery.
Okay, well, let's make a motion.
Well, I wanted to see what everybody thought about how reduced. I just was going to I'll make a motion to reduce the training and dues to 1,500 and the government reimbursements to 4,000. Being nice.
Okay, training to 15, and so you're taking 2,000 off, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Your second
I'll second it.
discussion?
Okay with it.
I will say that over my course of my career as a selectman, every single year we have money left over that
Yep.
we've appropriated. And I know that sometimes it's been close,
Right.
but that's as much a function of our revenue
do
stream,
that one next.
really. And I'm all for reducing the budget.
Some monies.
I don't think this is going to make any kind of a dent, however. And if it runs up
You sit
close
down
to it, the money will be found in other lines.
Right, and this is just one category. We have other categories to go through, so I'm hoping to
Sure.
find other.
Is this, did you have more categories in this section?
Yeah.
Deb does.
That you
Yeah,
want?
I would like to reduce the election preparation by a little bit.
Okay.
To what?
I would bring it down to
Did we
5.
vote on
Oh,
the?
we haven't voted on this yet, but,
That-
okay.
He
all
wants to
in-
do them all at once.
We could, okay, so you want to take your motion back and your second back and we'll make it
Yeah, just include mine.
Okay.
Okay.
a
I'll
one
withdraw my
complete
motion.
one.
a complete
The
motion.
only
Okay.
problem with that for me is maybe I like this one and I don't like one of the other ones.
Okay, let's vote on my two then.
Okay.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
All those in favor of 4140.335 going to 15 instead of 2 and 4140.395 going to 4,000 from 50/50, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, next.
So I would make a motion to reduce election preparation from 58 to 5. Just because even if it comes in at 25 or 3, you still got a couple thousand left for, and there's only one election next year.
Yeah, sure, I'll second that.
Can you?
Yep.
Can you say that again?
So-
From 93?
From 58, they requested 58.
With the potential that we might have to buy a machine that could be 2,500 to 4,000, we don't know. So let's say it comes in 3,000. We still have 2,000 left. It's one election.
We're only having one.
We only spent 3,400 for a huge
Yeah.
year with a
No, I know.
presidential election.
Plus monies from the over budget.
There were a bunch of elections last year. and
So
we
I'm
don't
only
have
asking to
this
reduce
year,
it by 800.
But we still have to buy,
And it's not seconded, so it's on the
machinery.
table.
If we buy it.
No, we have to buy
we
it.
have to buy it from the state.
But we don't know the price.
Whatever.
We just don't know how much. The
But
state's
again-
going to require a certain system.
So we're just trimming some here, which.
Yep.
It all
It's
adds up.
fine,
It
yeah,
sounds like petty when you say 800, but it all adds up at the end of the
Sure,
day.
yeah.
And there's less areas to move it around.
None of theirs were
During the
over
year.
budget
Mhm.
either.
So we have a first.
It's a
and
quiet election
a
year.
second. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor of reducing 4140.570 from 558 to 5, say aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Okay, I got it.
So that gives you a reduction of 2,350, and the new number for the department would be 153,185.
153,185.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the total town clerk tax collector at 153,185.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? All righty. Okay, on to finance.
Okay. We already talked about supplies.
He's assured us he's going to spend it.
Tim's pretty thrifty.
His whole budget is pretty thrifty.
So that's actually, this total finance has gone down.
Well, and that's because of the short-term interest. So
Right.
as you may have seen today, the Fed has said where they were projecting 4 reductions next year, they're now saying 2 reductions. So basically, inflation a little higher for longer. So they're kind of hedging their bet. I was hoping we were going to be a little bit lower, but we really have. You're going to see more expense coming in for short-term interest before the end of the year. That's going to probably be a total of about $13,000, but we have paid off the tax anticipation note as soon as we could. And so I feel like, the $18,000 gives us enough enough wiggle room, depending upon, where we end up with a TAN. So the issue that we have to secure a tax anticipation note for the new year, or we will not be solvent. And that happens twice a year before the first tax bills go out and before the last bill of the year goes out. And we structure it in such a way that it's a line of credit so that we only draw down what we need and we pay it back as soon as we can. So we're not incurring the interest the entire time. But what's happened to us in the past is if we don't have the cash flow coming in, that we have to access that money, and we have bond payments, we have other things that are requirements, and for the fire district, school district, and county, we're required to make those payments on a regular basis. So we don't have an option of holding back their money, although I do negotiate with them when we're really short of cash and we need to push something out a little bit and then double it up, or things like that. So I do that as a regular point of business, but still we don't know what kind of percent we're going to be looking at for municipal rate. This year it was 5.25%. I would say it's going to be at least that much next year. The other thing to consider is that if we're successful in getting the bridge construction approved and we are able to finish securing the grant that was approved, because just because you get it approved, you have to go through all the other machinations to get the money. A lot of times you have to expend the money first before you get the money from the federal government. So from a cash standpoint, also that puts pressure on us to be able to make sure that we've got the funds available to, when let's say the bridge is removed for work, and and it's off getting work done, kind of thing. So from a short-term interest, we got to have the money available, and that's why the interest is where it is for 25.
That was a very, very long answer to short-term interest from last year was only spent at 25.5%. The Fed decided today that it's going down. And what are you?
Well, they were saying, actually, they were expecting 4 decreases, but now they're going to say maybe 2 next year. Decreases, right?
So why did we only spend?
But the
Well,
rate,
as I said,
this rate was 5.25.
You haven't seen. You're going to see another interest expense hit that'll probably be maybe somewhere around $5,000. So it'll be somewhere around 14,000 when it's done. And what I'm saying is this next year we have to have the ability to have cash flow to handle the other projects if they go through in 25.
If they go through, then they will go through with financing, won't they?
No, not
You're
necessarily.
You're predicting things that haven't happened yet.
That's what a budget is.
This whole budget.
You have
No,
to.
this is
Yeah,
what,
but if they do a warrant article to do that, then they have to add to it.
this is what the interest rate is right now. It's 5.25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the last 4 years of the interest rates gone up.
So I'm anticipating
Currently, it's 5.25.
we should be able to secure something at maybe, I would hope, 5%, maybe a little less. But I would think it would, given what they did today, it's probably going to be somewhere in that 5% range. But what I'm explaining is that, the selectmen have the ability to borrow funds through the warrant article that was already done for $1 million. But in order to do that, you have a lot of expenses if you do a note like that. You have to have a bond counsel, you have to have.
Yes.
So I guess what I'm saying is that we have to fund it through our operations, and to fund it through operations, you got to have cash flow. And cash flow, we don't have cash flow.
You're funding something that hasn't been voted on.
Yeah.
You're more than doubling what we spent this year.
Well, then
That's what I'm
cut
asking.
it down. But
and I know
I'm
there's a
telling you,
long-winded explanation to that. But you're saying for a bridge that hasn't been decided that we're fixing, we're
Well-
adding to the budget for a raise to someone who at town hall, the people have to decide that money is going to be allocated to that. We're allocating the money before the voters are decided to vote on it.
Well, and this is the
We're not
budget.
allocating, we're recommending.
You're
That's all we
recommending
are,
something
a
they
recommend-
haven't voted on
recommend-
yet.
Well,
And when they go to vote on that, they will be recommending, the voters will decide whether or not that money is to be spent or not.
Correct.
that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And-
That's our job, is to recommend.
Right. And what you're looking at is
It doesn't,
you're just looking at the department request. This is the request. So it's not what you're voting on. Your column is going to be on the right-hand side. If you want to change any of these, they can all be changed or deleted or whatever you want to do. But, I've explained the rationale behind, having to front end the money for work. And the Board of Selectmen is wanting to fix the bridge. They have stated that. We have gone out for grants for it. But oftentimes the mechanics of those grants is you got to put the money out first before you get it. I think Deb can vouch for that. They don't just send you a check and say, have a nice day.
So is there an estimate for the costs for the bridge? I didn't realize that.
The bridge itself
was-
is $512,000 to remove and replace. Now, that doesn't include any additional engineering. And we do have some, I'm sorry, yep,
Remove and repair,
repair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
well, I meant
replace.
replace back in,
not
and
replace.
put back in.
The other, yeah, they're gonna take it, they're gonna fix that one support column. There was talk about the bridge abutments and being real bad, and then somebody said, no, they're just fine. And those are engineers.
Right.
How much is the grant for?
500,000.
500,000.
Okay.
And there's a grant for that?
Yes.
And we've got it.
Oh, really?
Well, we don't have it.
Well, we don't have it, but
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about
right in the
cash flow.
pipeline.
So I guess probably what Stan was saying, if we don't get the grant, is there money that we can cut out of this? Or how much would you be able to reduce it by?
I guess if you want to mirror it to this year, you could cut it down to say 13 or 14,000. That would not be my recommendation, but
Sure, no, you're.
but
yeah.
go for it.
So that-
I'm
there's-
just trying to
there's an
find
option.
places that, Joe and others were talking about, well, we find it from other places and that's where we get it. This is where you get it. This is where $16,000 wasn't spent last year.
More than that.
Yes.
Yeah. 75% of what we allocated last year was not spent.
You have not seen the last, but it would be
It's gonna
probably
go
in
up to
the
about
30s.
14,000.
It'll be in the 30s. Yep.
That's,
Yeah, right now it's 25,341, and you said another, what's coming out? 13,000, 12,000?
No, it'll be probably a total of about 13 or 14,000 this year, the expense.
Oh, okay, it's like another 8,000.
No.
I mean,
we've-
another,
we've
another
spent-
five,
We've
another
spent
five.
8,600, so
5,000.
about another
Another
five.
five, all right, so that'll leave 20, it'll be 20,000 over, basically.
No.
It'd be
8,
20,000 that we
8,000
didn't
and
spend.
5,000.
Right,
It's
so
18,000 requests.
it's
yeah.
at 25,000 right now, and he said another 5 is probably coming out.
Oh, okay, you're saying
So
20,000
we'll have
extra.
20,000 that we didn't spend
Correct.
this year.
No. Oh, yeah, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
oh, I
this-
see what you mean, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so,
He's
and
reducing it by 16.
if we didn't get it, we'd still be.
So there's
what's-
4,000
Would be
cushion.
this year's,
Talking
which is
about
about 13 or
4,000, yeah.
$14,000, so
I'm okay with leaving it at the 16 myself,
it's
Mine.
at 18.
What about you, Stan?
minus
Yeah, it's
the 6.
18.
No, I said, I'm talking about
Oh.
what they're
The
reducing
reduction.
it by,
Yeah.
the reduction.
I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm like the only person that, oh,
No, actually, we're a discussion group.
No,
That's
I know.
perfect that you're here.
yeah,
You started the discussion.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, thank you.
yeah, so if we wanted to, play it tight, we'd
If we wanted to mirror
Mark
this
that-
year, we would have the
Take
the
4,000
decrease
more
up to
off.
20,000 instead of 16.
no, Tim was saying it's going to be about 13,000 this year.
14, closer to 14.
14,000.
So
this year.
4,000 reduction, yes. Additional 4,000 reduction.
So if we wanted to mirror this year, we would cut 4,000 off of the requests.
Right.
Correct. For
And how does
a
everybody
total
feel
of
about that?
-20,000.
Make a motion. And
I
you'll
think
find out how
Stan should
everybody
make the
feels
motion.
about it.
Yeah, we're waiting for Stan.
I have no motion.
Did you make a motion and I missed it?
No.
No,
I don't have
we're
one.
waiting for Stan.
I don't have one.
Oh, okay.
But it looks like we're going to get the grant.
The answer is yes. And we want to rebuild the bridge.
Okay.
A lot of people want, well, we want to make the bridge passable, like on a regular
So we can actually
occurrence.
use the island, right?
And use the island. And there's talk about replacing the stones out around the end, but I won't bore you with the
Well, no,
details, but there's a
I've been
state.
hearing about it for years, so yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, the
Yeah.
state wants to push out Route 3 25 feet because the posts are rotten and they're hanging out in the air and there's nothing to put them into.
Mhm.
So if they move the flow of the entire river 25 feet away from where it is now, what does that do when it gets to the island?
I know. Yeah.
And how
makes a
much
lot more
is the
impact.
state going to pay for? Because that's not a cheap thing either.
So I'm going to make a motion that we bring that line item in at 14,000. The debt
Is there
short
a
term.
second?
14,000.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I have 10, 12 years experience taking financial advice from Mr. Pearson. And I find it hard to go against that. Not being a auditor, financial planner or whatever. He hasn't led me astray in 12 years.
And
Just saying.
as a member of the select board, I understand why you would want that extra money in there.
Nope.
And that's
it
the
doesn't
point
make
of the
any
budget
difference to
committee.
me whatsoever, except for what I just said. If our financial analyst recommends it,
It would have been better at 15,
Then amend it.
but you got to vote same as me.
Mhm.
And I call the question.
Okay. All those in favor of reducing where am I?
4723.
Oh yeah, 4723.998 from 18 to 14. Say aye.
Aye.
Right.
All those opposed? Nay.
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 Okay, so with the
3 to
three,
3.
vote?
Yes, yes.
what did
3
you
to
vote?
3.
Okay, it's 3 to 3.
Yeah,
Were you nay?
I was nay.
Okay.
yeah. So it doesn't pass.
Okay.
3 to 3.
3
The three.
Does someone have a new one?
and 3 no. Huh?
Okay, so it failed. Okay.
It does fail.
Okay.
All right.
So are we leaving it at 18?
Mm-hmm. Unless
No
you
other
have
motion?
another
Recommendation.
motion.
No. Okay. No, I didn't know if anybody had, because you had said you would. Okay.
15, but I
perfect.
voted for that, so.
Okay.
Same.
Cool. All right. That's how it's supposed to
It's
work.
going to keep going tight.
All right. So I will make a motion that we recommend 138991 in the total finance.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
That, Christine, were you?
I said aye.
Okay, I was just curious. So it's
5 to 1.
5 to 1, yeah. Okay. All right, finance long-term. There's
Down
not,
from-
not much we can do about that, right?
No.
It's
That's just debt. So,
That's the 425, 736.
Yeah.
okay, so that's, okay, yeah. So then the other one is them together, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so I will move that we recommend 425, 736 on 4721.900 for long-term debt.
Second?
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, on to information technology. Don't ask me to understand any of that, but
Well, I can tell you one thing I think I did mention to you before. I am trying to get new pricing on our fiber. But so far to date, it hasn't been much of a change in terms of dollars.
Who'd you get quotes for so far?
Well, Consolidated again and First Light. And I put it out to,
Comcast?
thank you, yep, Comcast as well.
And they haven't responded?
They have not responded.
'Cause they're trying to get a lot of business in the area, so they might give you a good deal 1 year, but it doesn't mean.
Yeah, the part of what we have to deal with the fiber is one portion of it goes up to Belknap Mountain for radio communications for the police department, and it's central to their operations. So that fiber is not something. Most of the time, you can get competitive fiber if it's along the same line or in the same area or it's running along the same road. But when you're going up a mountain that's very specialized, there's not many that are going up there. So they've either got to build it out with capital expenditures or, which is expensive for something that's such a low usage in terms of bandwidth. So that's one of the things that makes this a little specialized and hard to get really cheap pricing.
On the hardware, scanners are separate than printers?
Yep.
Don't the printers, the copiers have printing and scanning capabilities? So we're getting separate ones, or?
In some cases, yes. Yep.
Who has a scanner that's separate?
There are a number of them. They're in different departments, usually where people don't have individual printers. And particularly at the PD, also here, it depends on the position and the requirement.
The PD doesn't have a printer?
No, they do, but not every workstation has a printer.
But don't all the workstations have access to it?
Yes, they do, yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
So I don't see why we need all these separate scanners.
Well, most of those, what you see there, monitors,
Printers.
printers, scanners, those are generally replacements. We're not buying new, adding wholesale. It's just when something breaks.
And Windows 11 is new this year to upgrade, right?
It's required by our insurance carrier by October of 25 to be completely up to Windows 11. And it's also a CJIS requirement, Criminal Justice Information System. For us to have it on any of those, they have to be up to date. And there are workarounds to do a Windows 11 upgrade, but it doesn't meet the requirement of our insurance carrier if we're going to protect ourselves for ransomware or anything like that. So, so you have to have a Gen 8 Intel chip or greater, you know, in terms of Intel to be able to run Windows 11 Pro. But those can be had pretty inexpensively, and I think I mentioned before, you know, we were getting some great prices on small machines.
And the services, is that a hired service?
Yep. So these are so we have the copier service. 3 of them are time and materials. 1 is under a service contract, and then the firewall and servers. That should come down this next year in 26. We went through and are completing some big upgrades, as well as we're in the middle, hopefully getting towards the end of a migration of our PD software into the Belknap County Sheriff system. But it has been a little bumpy. There's some issues that are going on, and some other agencies have opted not to proceed forward with it. But we're probably about 90% of the way in, and that's something that the chief is going to have to talk to the Board of Selectmen about. He's talked to me about it. We've talked with Scott Hilliard, the town administrator, and there's some issues that really have to be worked out. But in any event, that's all part and parcel of that. That also handles all the updates for the server updates and firewall updates, which are more frequent than we've done in the past. The online meetings, that's what you see here. Office apps are Google's system, and then we have a signature system that's used for the selectmen.
Any other questions? Well, I'll move that we recommend 12501 for the total information technology.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Okay, land use. Looks like
So the support went up because that was part-time to full-time.
Right, so the 2 positions flipped, if you recall. The coordinator had been full-time, and now it's part-time, and the technician had been part-time and is now full-time. The one thing you'll see that has been really overspent, I mean, we've spent money in education. They're going to use every bit of that this next year. Postage, we do receive offsetting revenue for postage when it's, for instance, Eversource had $1,000 worth of postage that had to be done for abutters for a particular project, and so you see the expense here, the $1,000, but the $1,000 is also accounted for in revenue, not in a separate line, but it would show under our miscellaneous revenue. I'm sorry, land use revenue in the revenues. The other thing here is professional consulting. We do use an engineer from time to time, but the majority of that are legal expenses related to planning and zoning boards.
Why is it so high this year?
Because of the challenges that we've had with larger projects which required legal help.
That's really not very much when you look at some of these.
That will go up.
Being on the planning board myself, I've seen that, but so, and you're planning to increase fees around
Yes.
this whole
Right.
program too, right?
Right.
So that should,
Hopefully the
offset.
selectmen will decide that tomorrow night. Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
And that's.
Right, which I reviewed at your last meeting.
Right, yeah, that's
Yep.
great. That would make a big difference.
Yep.
With more
So-
revenue.
Why are we increasing economic development when we didn't even spend
Yeah.
our total amount this year? It was at 2,300. We spent a little over 1,000. Why are we upping it to 25?
Because I believe the selectmen wanted to do more with the flowers and flags and decorations in town.
Some of that got donated, didn't it?
Very little, but yes.
From the UNH, okay. And land use vehicle costs, 2,500 again. I know we bought a vehicle, so what is that for? Gas and hopefully no repairs?
Well, more than likely there'll be maintenance for the vehicle, that sort of thing. So that's what was set aside for it.
Is that for registration and inspection too?
You don't pay.
Yes, everything related to the vehicle, yes.
I think we should reduce the economic development. I think that's,
Agreed.
we only spent 1,000. So why don't we up it to 1,500? That's spending more.
Hopefully, we're going to spend more. We had a
Make a motion.
committee that was supposed to be planning a thing downtown and a chili cook-off, and there were meetings, and the money was supposed to come out of that line.
Right.
But that just went somewhere. I don't know.
Well, it's
It
because
didn't
we
get done.
lost one of the selectmen, which was on that board.
Absolutely.
Right.
You make
Right.
it all second.
Okay. I'd like to motion that we change that to 1,500, not 2,500.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
And this is economic development,
Yeah.
line 300.
Yeah.
Correct. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right.
Okay, looks like the
Ayes have it.
ayes have it. So that's at 1,500.
You can always, go out and fundraise if you need to.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, health welfare.
Oh, wait, we didn't
You didn't
finish
approve.
land use.
Wait.
What's that?
You didn't
finish land
finalize.
use.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And it would
Okay,
be-
the total land use, that would take 1,000 off that? No,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that'd be 152, 238. I'll move that we recommend total land use at 152, 238.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, 5 to 1. All right, on to health and welfare.
Notes.
Health officer. Miscellaneous expense.
Can I just ask for anybody that's opposing, do you want me to add it into the minutes of who opposed, or do you just want the actual vote number?
I think the vote number's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
just want to double check.
Works for me, unless I say, let the record show.
Yep, I'm just double
Right,
checking,
right,
making sure.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the
Oh.
health officer miscellaneous expense.
$49.
We have $400. We only spent 49.
Right, those are for like water tests, things like that. It's dependent upon the activity.
Can we reduce it? 200?
What line are you on there, Deb?
It is
4411.
4411385.
Okay.
Guess we had no animal control events.
No, and I think you could probably move that to $1.
The
I mean,
animal
it's-
control.
Yeah,
Let's put
we
a
have not
dollar
had
there.
any expense in this for 2 years.
Okay.
And
I
we
like
went from what we thought was going to be 1,000 the first year down to 500. And I think maybe it's been 2 years now, 500 with no activity. So as long as you leave $1 in that line, we can charge to it if it,
My understanding is that by RSA, we have to have a dog catcher or whatever you would want to call it. So leaving $1 on
Sure.
that line
Keeps it
means
open.
that we can move stuff over from another line.
right.
And what was the miscellaneous expense for the health officer?
So the health officer uses cameras and they collect water samples, other things that have to be tested. Sometimes they collect bugs and other sorts of things. But the water samples cost, I think it's $30 for each sample tested. And then they buy batteries for the camera, things of that sort, sundry stuff. I would think it's safe to lower that line.
Could lower that line too, yeah.
We
And
just cut it in
then
half.
So, yeah, maybe cut that in half and
200, yeah.
and put the animal control to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So minus 499.
The general assistance, I know the comment was winter months before.
Well, the rationale for the increase from the health welfare director was that there are a number of programs that were available for people in need that have either ended or no longer accessible to them for one reason or another. A lot of things that were left over from federal programs. So those are ending, and she's expecting that we're going to have increased expense because of that.
Do we have some expenses that are going to add to the 16,000 before the end of the year?
I haven't seen any
Little bit.
as yet, but we have been receiving them more so this month. Yeah. So I would think it could be. I wouldn't say a lot, but
But we came in under budget.
maybe another $2,000.
Can you tell me what the budget was for that line for the last 2 years?
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'll make a motion to reduce 4411,385 health officer miscellaneous expense to 200 and 4415,925 animal control to $1.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right.
I don't have the budget figure, but I can tell you in 20 we spent 20,200. In 21 we spent 13,300. In 22 we spent 5,300. So
Yeah, this is too high.
5,300 and
Yeah.
22
Mhm.
total welfare?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Well,
Well, that was because
General
everybody's getting, that was COVID.
I know,
right?
but that's
really
still
so.
low.
20 was COVID.
22
21.
wasn't really.
There's still some.
Was the end
Well,
of it?
Advance and
there was
stuff.
a lot of
surprises
money
me.
that followed over.
I think we
So
need to reduce.
We don't know
this.
what it was for 23 though yet.
It's 16
I can
some.
I
Oh,
can look it up.
24.
If you give me a second.
Yeah, what's 23?
Wow, that 5,300 surprises me. What was the budget? 25?
25.
There's 20,000 right there.
No, it was lower during those years.
Okay.
Let's see.
Heather's always done a really good job, I think.
She does a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
She
utilizes.
usually really knows what's going to happen. But
She
This
tries
seems
to
kinda
utilize
high.
any grant money or federal money wherever possible.
Reduce it to 30.
The thing is too with the welfare budget, even if you lower it, you still have to spend it. You can't say we're over budget. You still have to provide it.
Right.
right.
So it would come out of any,
And it is
extra
an area that
Overage.
you can overspend your budget
Yes.
legally in
For that.
welfare.
welfare and legal, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Any judgments against
Let's
the town,
reduce
anything
it.
like that. Yep.
I would leave it at 25.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
We only spent 18 this year. So I make a motion that we level fund that at 25. I appreciate Heather's input, but we didn't even spend the total amount this year.
Actually, for the last 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion on that? All those in favor of reducing the, or level funding, the,
Welfare.
for 2.920 welfare general assistance to 25, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, 5-1.
What's the new line number?
Yes, we have to do a
So
calculator.
So it's going
takes-
down $10,699. So your
Fif-
new,
No,
10,000.
no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
5.
10,699.
Oh, yeah,
for
yeah,
the,
we
for
gotta
the,
do-
the entire health and welfare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Minus 10,699.
699.
That's 6 and 9.
So 97,196.
Okay, what is it? 97?
Yeah, 97,196 is what I have
96.
too. So I make a motion, we recommend total health and welfare at 97,196.
A second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Yay.
Okay, 5-1.
Public.
All right, Public Works.
Okay. Oh, public works.
I mean, I think Shane's doing a great job. Of course, he worked for me, so I'm biased, but
Now, he's
I-
not a mechanic, right?
pardon me?
No,
So we have to hire that out.
right. We also have a memorandum of understanding with the town of Northfield.
Oh.
So we make use of their mechanic
Oh, good,
at
good, good.
set rates. So the rates are lower than what we would get going to another
Nice.
facility. But
Nice.
we have to provide the, any supplies or parts.
So the only thing on this one that jumps out at me is gas diesel 4311615. Gas prices are pretty consistent right now, and we've spent less than 14,000. We had a budget of 24.5.
Didn't gas go down?
Yeah. So why are we keeping it at 24.5?
What line is that?
Well,
It's second to the bottom.
It's anybody's guess. I can tell you the director gets very antsy about fuel.
I think a light winter last year also.
Right.
Oh, we got a
helped
heat
a
wave
lot
right
of that.
now.
Didn't have to plow that much last
But
year.
how do you know this winter's not going to be the same?
We don't.
We don't.
I don't know. I just think
How do you
that.
know that we don't have 3 or 4 nor'easters
Well-
coming?
Right.
You don't.
No, you don't. But what was it last year? What did we spend last year, Tim?
In 23,
Yeah.
let's see. Let's see, hang on one second.
But has diesel been coming down too? I mean, gas has been coming
The
down a
thing
little
is,
bit.
yeah.
Well,
Not as
Everything
fast
goes
as fuel.
down.
Not
Not
as
as
fast.
fast.
No,
as-
it's
yeah.
been pretty consistent
Yeah.
though lately. I don't know. I'm just curious what we did last year, and then we can see.
Here it comes.
Maybe the year before, because those are the last 2 years gas really went up.
we don't pay the taxes on the gas.
We don't.
Nope.
We don't?
No.
So let's just say it's $2.50 a gallon. I don't know where, but it's $2.50 a gallon. 50 cents of that goes to taxes.
Sure.
We
At
don't pay
least.
$2.50. We
Yeah.
pay $2.
Yeah. Nice.
Less than what you
Let's
said.
see, gas.
Just curious.
But we only budget for
We spent-
$2.
we-
It's not like we're,
In 23, we spent 25,700.
Mm,
Yeah, the prices were higher than.
Okay. gas was higher. You have 22 right there?
I can look it up.
I don't know. I just think 24.5 is too much. At 14.
Yeah. Two other ones here too.
Mm.
Then I want to ask him about this one.
It was. Uh, 21,900.
21,000.
And 24
Yeah.
prior.
I don't know. I would like to reduce it to 20,000. That puts us kind of right in the middle between the 14 and the 24.
Sure, make motion.
I make a motion, we reduce the gas diesel to 20,000 from 24.5.
Second.
Second, yeah. Any discussion on that?
I appreciate the wanting to lower that, but that could be a thing that really hurts their ability to move things around. And the other thing we were talking about earlier, when the Fed was talking about lowering of interest rates, is they also have a concern that inflation will also increase.
Mm-hmm.
And diesel is, I think, the first place it increases.
Hmm.
That's why our grocery bills went up as much.
Yeah.
Wasn't necessarily the groceries
The trucking.
as much as it was getting them to the store. So I would love to save everywhere we can. But I think that 5,000 could really hamper their ability to
Mm-hmm.
do the routine.
Sure, and it can, I mean, we could have a strong winter too. I mean, you just don't know. So,
No, you don't know.
Yep.
and that's one of those areas where you just kind of, you don't mind the padding, but,
Right.
so, any more discussion? All those in favor of reducing the, diesel to 20,000, right? Is that-
Gas and diesel.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Say aye.
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 Those opposed?
Nay.
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 I think it's 4-2.
Yep.
It fails. Yeah,
We'll see how it comes in.
okay. And,
next year.
Yeah.
so is there road construction at all? I see there's nothing in there for that.
Let's see.
What line is that?
That's 4312.740.
740. $1.
But you're saying there might be some kind of,
They're just keeping it
They
open.
just put the
So-
dollar.
Yeah, this would be road construction that they do. So they just, it's just keeping it open.
okay. So what you're talking about is road materials, what they're talking about, doing a top coat on that.
So they do have a line that handles road materials, but this is if they do have like a roller for sidewalks. If they were going to redo a sidewalk or something, it'd probably be under here.
Okay.
We had a washout up on Caleb Hill Road last year.
Yeah.
That our guys were very instrumental in bringing in ledge pack and rolling it and grading it and doing all
Helping
that
the state.
stuff. So
Yeah.
Where, by Pest House?
That's a
where you
state.
go up the hill there
Towards
at the
March?
hairpin turn. Apparently,
Oh, okay.
you go down there to the right straight,
Yeah.
and there was a washout of some sort in that general vicinity.
I mean, his budget's pretty good. I mean, he's reducing lines that
Yeah.
he didn't use. I mean,
Sure.
his is good.
Well, I have a
Mentioned
couple.
not a lot of big projects
You have a
next
couple.
year.
So the last time we talked, line 4311, 470 was only high because of septic design, which isn't going to happen. So I had a note, we're
Right.
supposed to be reducing that.
So I was going to mention that the building repairs, I think you can reduce that some, although what's been identified that they do have to fix, I don't know what kind of heaters they're called, but the big heaters that are in the main garage all have to be cleaned out. It's something around $4,500 to do the service on that.
Mhm.
And then their salt and sand shed is going to require, this has been an area that they've had to repair each year.
Mhm.
And they've got a way of figuring out how they're going to do it. But they have to have money to be able to do that. So I was thinking that one could probably be reduced to maybe 10 or 11,000, somewhere in there, maybe 9. But they are going to need some money for those items.
Okay, so I make a motion on line 4311.470 to reduce from 15,000 to 9,000.
Second.
You second?
Second?
Second.
Okay.
What number are we going to?
That's building repairs on
Yep.
page 7, 4311.470.
470.
Yeah, 15,000.
15 to 9.
To 9.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the ayes have that. Okay, so we,
And then I think the other one we discussed last time, Tim, was 4311.370. Reducing that one. Let me see. Let me see where it is.
370. Yeah, that
370.
can be halved. Thank you. Yep, that can be
Yeah, to 1,500. So
1,500.
I'll make a motion for 4311.370 on page 7 to reduce from 3,000 to 1,500.
oh, there it is. To, what was that, to?
1,500, half.
Half of that? Okay. Did somebody second that?
I will second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay.
What does that get us to now?
So what about this miscellaneous expense, Tim? 385?
Yep, so that covers a lot of, where is it, 385? Yeah, I think you are going to see that line increase. They did not have a lot of opportunity this year. Most of the year was spent sort of reorganizing the staff. I would expect that to be further spent, but you could probably bring that down 500, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion to reduce that to 1,000.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right.
And then I think the other one, let's see, we discussed here from last time is maybe I already did that one. I did that one.
What about the building grounds and maintenance? 730. I mean, he's reduced it from 5,000 down to 4,000, but he only spent 1,700. Is there anything coming up on that, Tim?
I do think he's got more plans this coming year. We did discuss it. We did knock down some of those, but they do have things that they've got to take care of that I don't think they were able to get to this year.
They didn't have the crew.
They did not have
Ground
the crew.
maintenance?
Buildings
Well,
and
because
grounds.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
And then the last one we discussed probably 2 meetings ago was 4311,660 equipment purchases. Tim discussed going down by 1,000, I guess. Make sure.
Yeah,
So
they took it down. Yeah. They
already did?
Yeah.
But then they spent
No, they
7,400.
right,
yeah.
but they don't have that this year.
They have to buy a bunch of tools because
They do.
the last, all the tools are owned by the head of the department, and he took them with him.
Right.
So,
Right, but when we talked about it, they asked for 4,500, and I have a note here saying it could be reduced by 1,000. Is that true, Tim?
I know that they have a lot of things they have to buy. I really can't answer that.
yeah,
I mean,
they just requested 3,500 instead of 45.
No, that's a change.
No, that's
No,
the
that's the
change over
change.
last
The
year.
rest is 45.
okay.
Yeah, they they're having to bring in some cases, their own personal tools to do things. So that's why they're hoping to, really replenish and come up with a base set in the building. So I really don't know. I wish I could give you a better answer.
The increase from this year, that didn't cover a lot of those two purchases already?
It did, but a lot of that was, they had the cabinets, for the tools. They had a base set of tools that was expended, and then a compressor. I think there was a compressor. There were some other things. So that gave them some things, but they're missing a lot of just general hand tools, power tools, other type. I don't know the exact types. I just know that they've been having to use their own. So I would say, I think within this budget, I would say that if there are things like that, and they feel uncomfortable with the amount of money that's being changed here, I can address it with him tomorrow and see if he can't, buy some of that out of 24 budget, and so that they can reduce that, say, by 1,000 for next year.
Great.
So there's
Leave
time.
it,
There's time to do
45?
that right now.
So we'll revisit it.
Yeah.
No,
sure.
I think you can take out 1,000. What I'm saying is that I can, tell them, go spend 1,000 now.
Yeah,
And,
okay.
Right.
Sure.
if you really are dire need, but if you can do it without the 1,000, do it without the 1,000. But if there's something that you're really counting on, go out and get it out of 24 money instead of 25 budget.
So we'll make a motion to make 4311.660 3,500.
Yep.
Is there a
Second.
second? Okay. Any other discussion?
The only discussion I have is I do appreciate how they request for numbers. It's not just because they spent it last year. They try and,
Right.
it's like one of those they could, they could add padding to other areas, and it doesn't seem like they do. So I appreciate that. Just in general.
Sure. No,
Not that this line
I think they
itself.
do very well. Yeah.
Who seconded this one?
Christine.
Christine, thank you.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at the time.
All those in favor of reducing it $1,000, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Okay. All right. So right now we're at
So that would reduce it 9,000,
9,000. Yeah. So we've got
which would
9,000 even.
2,000,
Yep.
6,
Which
8,
would-
9,000 off the total of that would
that'd
make
be
it
817,713.
807, right?
I'm sorry, 807. Yeah,
713.
713. Yep.
So I'll make a motion to total public works budget recommended 807,713.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. All right. Sanitation. No, not much we can do about that, right?
Oh,
No,
by
so-
contract.
Contract and
Recycling
also
processing.
our experience with the haulers. So you'll see the haulers are expended here, but they're also in the revenue line. So revenue came down and expenditures came down for that.
So on the curbside, is there another invoice that we haven't paid yet?
Yes.
And that will be about what? Like, will that get us up to the 205 or will we go over?
No, that should be right around there.
And then there's an increase in this in the next year?
Yes.
Okay.
There was talk of doing coupons instead of amnesty week and stuff. Where are we at on that?
That stalled with the change in personnel.
Okay, and then I had
I'd still like to see it done because we spend a lot of money during Amnesty Week, but there's some issues that have to be worked out with it.
Okay. And I had a note, Tim, on 860 that said this may be reduced by 2,500. So I'm not sure why I have that note.
Well, so this is, this was all new. They have started to bail and get some revenue from recycling, but it's very slight. We haven't seen any real increase there so far, and we do have sufficient supplies at the moment. So I think it could be reduced further. The part-time wages for the recycling attendant are in the part-time wages line in highway.
So what do you think is a safe number?
I think you could take it down to 2,500.
Are you redoing your fees in this area too?
Yes, but they're not as dramatic a change as in the permits. We've looked at surrounding towns. We've looked at what our cost is, because we're not supposed to technically make a profit on things. We should be passing the cost along to taxpayers that they're paying the tax. So you try to figure out what the per tonnage cost is on different items and take an average and sort of figure out what's the right amount to charge for certain disposals. And we're not too far off from where Northfield is at the moment. And then, of course, anybody can go to Casella on 140 and take bulk items there as well. It is an area that I will make some recommendations to the board, but they're not as dramatic as the permit fee changes.
Now, are they doing anything with revenue changes, pricing?
That's what I just asked him.
Is that what you're just talking
Right.
about?
So
okay.
so it won't be dramatic.
Yeah, okay.
I think there will be some changes, but
Won't be like
it's
planning
not going
and
to be
zoning.
huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are we still going to do the amnesty days?
So far, that's what's planned. Yes.
Yeah. Is that what's the demo material removal? Is that?
Yes.
It's come down a little bit, but.
Well, there's still, I still have to pour through some of these. I think there's still some residential solid waste that has to be allocated to the demo material removal, because keep in mind, there are 2 weeks of the year where people are bringing both. So you have to account for what is your normal residential waste that people bring in, because there's some people that can't be collected on the street and they have to bring it into the public works. So in any case, there'll be a slight adjustment there.
And I guess the other issue is the tags and whether or not people are abusing that.
So the selectmen have discussed recording the license plate on the sticker itself, so that that you can't just give it to somebody else. So when the attendant is checking the sticker, they can also check the plate to the sticker and make sure that you're the person that is intended to bring in the material.
But when you get a sticker, I mean, usually they just hand them out.
Yeah, they don't check
So
IDs or anything.
you'd have to have some kind of a process where they would write down your license plate on that.
That's the idea.
It's a little more cumbersome, but
right.
Yeah.
That's the idea, that it would be done at the time of at the town clerk's office. So they would have to be the ones to record it.
Well, couldn't you do it at the highway garage?
No.
You can't do that.
No.
Doesn't the sticker have to be affixed to the vehicle?
Yes.
It does, but they're static stickers. So
Oh, they're not the ones that you
You can
can't
just
peel
peel
off?
them right off.
Yeah,
peel them off.
Yeah,
and
right. They're static.
Stick them on your forehead if you
You
want.
can't peel off.
No, you don't.
have to be serialized to be able to say which one is for which vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. By your license plate.
What happened to the good old days when you had the ones you couldn't peel off? They would break into pieces.
I know.
They make them with like a perforation between
Just a
them.
little-
So if
Okay.
you try to peel them off, it comes apart.
Yeah. Yep.
So you wouldn't peel them off and give them to somebody else. They have to be on the vehicle.
Why don't we just write the tag number down on the stickers we have now?
Well, then you get into the problem with, what if I buy a new car and I change my license plate? Now I have to come in and get another
Well,
sticker.
when you change your
You
license
change-
plate, you bring in your
I
sticker
haven't
and
changed
you
mine
get
for
your new
20
one.
years, but I'm just
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
But you got to come to town hall, and town hall issues the stickers. So if you get a new
Yeah.
plate,
No, I get it. I get the thought process, but it's more work for you guys too. I mean, whoever's issuing the stickers.
giving
But
the
license plates.
residents services is what they do, and that's not always like easy casual. Although sometimes it can be fun. But
Also, if you get the stickers that pull apart and when you try to take them off your vehicle, then no one's going to share it.
I mean, I bet
So
there's
just
some
a thought.
other
But they give
towns
you
out there that
stickers
have
without
a
asking
better
your
system
ID.
that we could emulate.
all I can
But
say
we just have to
to
find out.
this is
Yeah.
we have a number of stickers now, and when we run out, I'm sure we'll be exploring the latest
New
and
options.
greatest
Yeah.
stickers.
Sure.
We
God
print,
only knows what that costs.
we
so.
print stickers, just so
We
you
should,
know.
chip.
We do know.
State type stickers.
Yeah.
DOC, we print them right at the
Yep.
print shop.
Well, I have
Just saying.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, good ideas.
So was there a recommendation to reduce something on this?
Yeah, we're gonna make a motion to reduce 4323.860 to 2,500, making the bottom line 555,035.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
hi.
Aye. Opposed?
And this was just that line or both?
What, that was
Just
both.
one
That
line,
was
but
the
it
total
changed the total.
sanitation. What was your total?
555,035 is the bottom after
Yep.
the 2,500.
Okay, so that's taking 2,500 off. All right,
For sanitation, it's not the total public works and
Right.
sanitation.
that, we don't have to vote on that. Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, police department.
Joe, wasn't there something on here about hiring?
Yeah, 4210-130 support
We,
staff.
we could probably we could revisit this because they're coming in at town meeting.
I think we should wait.
I mean, at the next select meeting.
Yeah.
We should revisit this,
Yeah.
see how that's
Next meeting.
shaking out. Yeah.
I think we should do that, yes.
So
Well,
the police
ju-
department's coming here to the budget
To the
meeting,
selectmen.
So they did last week.
right? But
So there might be some changes.
their budget is different than our budget, so it doesn't matter what the selectmen say.
Right.
We all look at the same figures
Yeah.
and then choose from there.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to
But-
see what theirs
Yeah.
comes at before we start.
I'm okay with doing it.
In the department request, that does include the 2 budgeted open positions, just so you're
Uh-huh.
aware.
Yeah, right.
I mean, is there any
So
harm
those are
closing
in
out
these
one of
numbers?
these
And we'll
next
know.
Those are in that-
yeah, they're
those
in here.
numbers,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, he's included. This is pretty much
Sorry,
fully
it's been a long
staffed.
day.
Okay,
That
so
would be
we'll,
a fully staffed police department,
Yes,
which
yeah.
we haven't had in years.
I thought we were
Haven't.
fully staffed
And-
last
No, I
time.
know.
1 second.
The total cost of the 2, I think, I was asked last week at the meeting when the chief was here, and I think it was the combination of those 2 positions is about $206,000.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do that next
Bunch of
time.
Cultural.
That won't be
Fine.
till January because we're not going to
Okay.
meet for a couple of weeks.
We should come in next Wednesday. What the hell?
Yeah.
At
after-
I'll be
least
after-
drunk.
New Year's.
But-
Who's
gonna be going anywhere?
We'll
We're
do
all
it with a
old.
couple drinks.
Okay.
And I'll be drunk.
Okay, do you want to deal with, I think we should deal with the culture and recreation.
Yes.
That's the park commission.
That's easy. Ooh,
Um,
Okay, let me find my
do
page.
it. That's easy. Look at it. It's easy.
Okay, hold on.
Except, oh no, Home Memorial
Had a
Library's
note
in
to
there.
reduce.
Well, that's the outside agencies. We can do that.
No, Home
I-
Memorial Library is under Culture and Recreation.
Oh, okay, right,
Why is that?
So it's the old home day.
right.
You'd be nice.
It's because the state requires that we support library. It's in, and it's done by the function code
That's gonna
of
be
the
a
state.
bad
So let's
discussion.
do that one when
Do you
we
want to do all these
outs-
other ones the next meeting?
Sure.
Yeah, because we've been here a couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did good.
I don't want to delve into.
Yeah,
Home
no, I
Memorial
think
right
that's,
now.
it's been very,
It's almost Christmas.
very
Right, wait a minute. I got my notes.
good meeting, yeah.
Oh.
So we will start with culture and police and culture and recreation and outside agencies at our next meeting, and we'll be ready for the public hearing, which
That'll
will
be
be like the week after that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait a minute, when's the next,
Did you know the public hearing we're gonna have?
3 weeks.
so we're not meeting on
Oh,
the
first week in
first?
January, right?
Not meeting
Right.
25th or the
So
1st.
that'll
They
be
want to
like
meet
the
on
eighth.
Which will be what,
January 8th will be your
Yeah,
next meeting.
January
Right,
8th.
yeah.
I don't know
See, she's
why I
on
was
top of it.
skipping
January
the
8th.
first.
Do we still want to keep the public meeting for January 15th, or do you want to push it to the 22nd because you're pushing this off?
We
I think
need
we're
14.
fine.
Don't we need
We should be
14
fine.
days?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can start it going if you still want to keep it on the 15th.
But we're voting on the 8th. That's not 14 days.
No.
No,
No,
but she's
but
gonna.
you
she's
have to
gonna-
move it to the
notification.
22nd.
She can notify now.
It's just notification of the meeting. We don't
Okay.
have to,
Yeah.
have- we don't
Oh.
have
You don't
to
have to
have any,
provide
we don't have to
anything.
vote on anything before
Okay.
that
You
meeting.
don't have to provide
Oh.
anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm glad that we've got through so much
Yeah,
today.
I appreciate it.
The set. Now, if it
Yeah.
snows or something, then we might have to repost and do the meeting on
We
the
can
22nd.
always go back and visit these based on our
Sure,
experience
yeah,
at
Absolutely.
the public
if we
hearing.
get anybody, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, I think so. I think people
Everything
will
can
show
be
up this year.
changed.
After they
Yeah.
get their tax bills,
Mhm.
they're
Sure.
going to show up.
Yeah.
And it's not a newspaper ad and an extensive cost. It's electronic.
Yeah, it's right on the website,
Right,
so it's
right.
easy enough to change
We
if
don't
we
put
need to now.
an ad
so-
out in the paper anymore
No.
No, we're not required.
for
Oh,
public
As long
hearing?
as we have it publicly posted and we have it
In
on
two
the
places,
website.
right?
Bill, nobody reads the paper anymore, Bill.
Is it in
Yeah.
2 places, Tim?
Doesn't have to,
It's got to be at least 2 places in the website, yeah.
It was on a line item when we were
They put it
discussing
outside, they
a
put
while
it
ago.
inside.
Yeah,
they
in
put
land
it, you
use,
know,
it was taken out of
doesn't have to
land
be in the
use.
paper.
That's kind of what we do.
Yeah,
Put it down
you
on
do.
the board and put it in the kiosk.
Yeah.
Is the public meeting 6 o'clock also?
That's up to you guys. If
Sure.
you Usually have it at 6.
yeah, that,
Do you have a problem
yeah.
with that, Chris?
No, I got to put in my phone because I can't remember. Diddly.
Okay.
May I ask a question? Had you approved either the sewer budget or the Lockmere Village Water District budget?
Did we approve those
I
already?
wasn't at that meeting because I had.
Right.
Is it in the?
No, I
Made
don't
no
believe we
motions.
did.
You've made
No
no motions
motions.
up
No
before
motions.
today. Today was the first day you made
Okay,
motions.
I mean, those are passed through budgets, so, I mean, unless you want to make any recommendations
Just a-
for them?
It's just a.
Well, we can vote next week or the next meeting.
wanna
I
leave it
guess.
for the next
Sewer
meeting?
and what was the other one?
Sewer and Lockmere Village Water District. And the reason is it has to go in your MS 737 sewer, and then their
change
MS
anything,
737 be available for you to sign at some point.
Yeah, I did have that.
I think we probably should just do it tonight
Do it now,
because it's
let's-
just a formality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we can change anything we want on there, but
Not going to change anything.
Yeah, we can recommend stuff, sure.
they pay for their own stuff, so. Lockmere, they got a good secretary now.
They showed up at least, so.
Yeah,
It's half
I
an
told her
hour.
if she needed QuickBooks help to call me.
I would like to move that everyone have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Second.
Humbug.
Do you want to vote on sewer and Lockmere now or no? I
think we
thought that's
should.
what you guys were talking about.
Did you want
Tim
to
would like
go
us
through the
to.
budget?
Right, Tim?
Well, I just wanted to remind you that those are still out there that you should vote on at some point. It doesn't have to be tonight, but
We could do it on the 8th.
yeah, you can do
Okay.
it on the
Yeah.
8th. Yeah.
Okay.
Unless
did add it.
everyone is good with that, what they are, and then we'll vote on them now.
We can't do
Just
it.
soon wait till the 8th.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Give them the attention which they so
We need a
richly
motion
deserve.
to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Oh,
Aye.
yeah.
So we'll review these minutes next week or next meeting,
Yes.
3
yes.
weeks.
3 weeks. I can't keep track of how many things I have. I take notes.